What's up, everybody, and welcome to day 6 of our Juniper Networking series. In today's lab, we will be configuring IP addresses on our Juniper switch. So, my labs are conducted on Juniper EX 3300 switches, and by default, the EX series is Juniper's switching platform. The MX is Juniper's routing platform. So around the 2000s, manufacturers started to incorporate layer 3 capabilities inside of network switches. So this switch right here is layer 3 capable. So with that said, enterprises can buy this single unit and have all of the switching that they want, if switching is their main focus, focusing on VLAN, spanning tree, etc. But this device right here is also layer 3 capable, so it can route traffic for an enterprise too. Now, it's not going to give you all of the enhanced routing features that you would see in such an MX series router with Juniper produces. That is their routing suite. But you will get some basic routing with this layer 3 capable switch. So that is what we're going to be doing in this lab right here. So without further ado, let's hop into it. All right, so we are in the CLI within the FreeBSD shell, and we're hooked into our top switch back here. So let's do a CLI, and we have did some basic configurations to this switch right here. We have really just named it as Benz AS600, and that is going to be for our next video. We're going to be doing a BGP implementation, but for right now, let's focus on this lab. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is show you guys the configuration. Really, I want to show you guys what family all of the switch ports are under at this particular moment. As I said, we're dealing with a switch. So look at Gigabit 000. It is in the family of Ethernet switching, so it is operating as a layer 2 port. Same thing for GE001. It is also in the Ethernet switching family. So that is how you know that a interface is in a layer 2 posture. You can go to the configuration, and if it's in the family Ethernet switching, it is a layer 2 port. Okay? And another way you can look at this, if I do a quit right there, if I do a show interfaces terse, let's do a show interfaces terse. We can also see right here in the protocol that our interfaces are in the Ethernet switching family. So that is another way that you can look at your configuration and tell what interface, what mode an interface is operating in. If it's a layer 2 port, if it's a layer 3 port, and there's some other protocols as well that I'm not going to touch on right now. We're just going to stay with the basics, okay? All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to configure the GE000 interface as and I want that to operate as a layer 3 interface. So let's do an edit. Okay, and we want to do a delete. First, we need to delete the Ethernet switching protocol out of this interface. So let's do a delete interfaces GE000 unit 0 family Ethernet switching. We want to delete that. All right, hit enter. And now we want to do a set interfaces unit 0 interfaces. I didn't even type in the interface. So GE000 unit 0. Getting too far ahead of myself. Family inet address. And we want to give this interface an address 50.0.0.1/24. Okay? And let's hit enter there. All right, and let's do a show pipe compare. And as you guys can see now, the Gigabit Ethernet 000 interface is going to be operating in the family inet. So that is how we can tell that a interface is acting as a layer 3 interface. It is not in the Ethernet switching family anymore. And we can see the minus right here by Ethernet switching. So that is going to be deleted from our running configuration once we commit the change. Okay, so let's go ahead and commit this change. Let's do a commit and quit. All right, perfect. So now if I go back and I do a show interfaces terse, now the protocol should be different, and it is. Now the protocol for the gigabit 000 port is inet. So that is a layer 3 interface. We can configure an IP address because of that. So that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to switch a console cable to our bottom switch. All right. That is plugged in. Let's hit enter. And we are already in this switch. This switch is named bin AS500. So that is the difference. The one we were just on, the top one is named 600 and the bottom one is named 500. All right. So now if we do a show interfaces terse over here. Oh, I got to do a run show interfaces terse because I'm in configuration mode. Okay. So we can see the gigabit 000 interface on this switch is in the Ethernet switching protocol. So let's go ahead and change that. Let's do a delete interfaces GE000 unit 0 family Ethernet switching. Now let's do a set interfaces GE000 unit 0 family inet address, and we're going to put it in the same subnet. So we want to do 50.0.0.2 on this one and do a /24. Let's commit and quit that. All right, and then let's do a show interfaces terse now on this one, and we can also see that it is now in the protocol of inet, so it is operating as a layer 3 interface, and because of that we can put an IP address on this interface. So perfect. So we configured both the GE000 and the GE000. So now let's connect these together, and we have link lights on both ends. So now we're going to go back to our terminal emulator, which is PuTTY and the CLI, and try to ping to this bottom switch. So let's hop into it. All right, so we are back on the CLI. We have physical connectivity now. So let's confirm that. Let's do a show interfaces terse. And now we can see that not only is our administratively configured port up, but it's also up on the link as well. So that is layer 1. So it's administratively up, and the link is also up. So that means we have layer 1 connectivity. We can see our IP address right here. So that looks good. So now what I want to do, I want to ping from the bottom switch to the top switch and see if we have connectivity. So let's do a ping to 50.0.0.1 because that is the IP address that we put on the top switch. Let's do that ping, and as you guys can see, our pings are successful. So we're getting replies from that top switch, which is 50.0.0.1. So we're looking good. Let's configure one more interface, and that is going to segue us into our next video. All right, so let's type CLI, get back into operational mode. Let's do an edit, go back in configuration mode, and we want to do a set interfaces, and I'm going to set the GE0001 port, unit 0 family inet. Oops, and I almost forgot a very important step, and that's why I like to do these live and show my mistakes. We need to delete the Ethernet switching. We need to delete the Ethernet switching family first. So let's do GE001 unit 0 family Ethernet switching. That's very important because sometimes we can get errors if we don't delete the Ethernet switching family first. So now let's do a set interfaces GE001 unit 0 family inet, and let's give this interface an address of 40.0.0.1/24. And oops, I forgot to do the address. Okay, let's do address inet address. All right, perfect. So now let's do a commit and quit. And we just wanted to add one more interface just for practice. And also, like I said, this is going to definitely segment us into our next video. So, and that is going to be on BGP. All right, so that commit was successful. I appreciate you guys tuning in into day 6 of our Juniper Networking series. I hope to see you guys in day 7. Until then, peace out.